I am rounding out the last couple of videos here of mathematics content knowledge for the practice test of the Asvab. So these two questions, 12 and 13, we're going to do in this video. It's going to be a little bit longer of a video, just so you know. I'm going to prep you guys because these do take a little bit longer to do, and then we'll do that last one. So let's go ahead and get started. So quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram. Vertex A is located at -5, -2. Vertex B has coordinates of -3, +3. And the position of vertex D is 5, -2. What is the length of diagonal AC? So here is my drawing. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at this and determine what is happening. So we're looking at these problems. We have to do a little bit of coordinate geometry, obviously, in order to figure this out. So we're going to be using a few skills here. First thing I can do, in order for me to figure out this, I'm going to just do the length here of AD. That is very helpful. That I'm going to need. So we start off at -5, and if we're going from -5 and I'm like kind of pretending that there's a coordinate grid here and the x and the y axis are here, in order for me to get the x-axis from -5 to a +5, I'd need to go over a total of 10 spaces. So the length of this is going to be 10. Now, because this is a parallelogram, this side is equal to this side. Now, I don't really need that information, but I do need this piece of information, definitely. Now, the other piece of information that I do need, in order for me to now figure that out, I can tell you how the coordinates are for here. This is -3. So if I am going to have a length of 10 here, in order for me to go from -3 over 10 more up this way, I'd have to go from -3 to 0, which would be 3 spaces, and I would still need to go another 7 spaces over to make this a length of 10. So that means that my x coordinate for this is going to be 7. And because it is at the same height as the b value, this is going to be out of +3. Now my y's have the same distance as well, right? So they're starting at 3 and they're going down to -2. So we're looking at the vertical distance between the two of these. So if we're going from -2 up to a +3, that's a distance of 5. So you would have to go 5 spaces up on the coordinate grid in order to make that happen. So the vertical height of this piece is 5 units. So we know that piece right there is going to be 5. So we just need to figure out how long this piece is right here, and then we can get ready to do what we need to do. Now, if D is at 5 for the x coordinate, but our C value is at 7, that means there's a distance of 2 to get over from this point here to this point here, which is going to line up with the C. So this is going to be 2 right here in this tiny little part. So now I know enough information to use the Pythagorean theorem to coordinate what I need to coordinate to figure out that diagonal. So I have a length of 10 plus this little 2 piece, which is going to be 12. So I'm just going to redraw this so you can see what the main triangle would look like now. And again, I know this is a right triangle now because I have a vertical height. So this is now going to be 12 because you've got these 2 pieces, the 10 and the 2. We know the vertical height of this is 5. So we just need to figure out that AC hypotenuse, which is C. So we're going to use that Pythagorean a squared plus b squared equals c squared to figure this out. And we're going to plug in the 5 as the shortest leg, 5 squared plus the next longest leg, which would be 12. And we do c squared. 5 squared is 25. 12 squared is 144. And when we add those together, we get a total of 169, which is your c squared. And hopefully you know those perfect squares, so you don't have to do any kind of calculation here. The square root of 169 is c. So when I look at c is 13. So 13 is c, which means that b is my correct answer. So that's how we do that one. Now let's take a look at that next one. Whoops. Sorry about that. So we're going to take a look at that next question, which is a little trickier. So we do have if x plus y equals 2. Then we have this crazy one. X squared minus xy minus 10 and minus 2y squared is equal to 0. It asks me what does the x minus 2y equal? And then we have those choices right there. So next thing we're going to do here is we're going to have to rearrange a little bit. Now we do have those y squared, and we also have that x squared. So that is going to kind of play a little part here on this. I'm gonna actually write this. So when you're doing this, you're gonna have to do a little arranging, or rearranging, I should say, in order to figure out what we have going on here as far as the answers. And again, you have only a few small little number choices here. Again, you probably don't want to be playing the guess and check kind of game. That's not going to help you, I don't think, but you know, to each their own. So we're taking a look at this question. The first thing I want to do, we're not going to really do anything with that. We have two variables, right? So we only have two things. So really what you want to do is kind of figure out what that x minus 2y is going to be. And I'm going to show you kind of a fast way to do it. But because we have these quadratics, what you can do is factor each side out. We're going to actually add 10, get the 10 out of there. So we can kind of do a little factoring piece. So x squared minus the xy, and now the 10s are gone. And now we're going to have minus 2y squared. This is going to equal 10. This is a little bit more an unorthodox kind of way to do this, but I think this is probably the fastest. So what you want to do is, you know, if you know anything about factoring binomials, or trinomials, to get binomials, you're going to have a setup where you're going to have an x here because you have an x at the beginning, and you're going to have another x here. Now, we don't know whether it's going to be plus or minus. We're going to have to figure that out. Now, the end here results in a negative number. So your factor pairs have to either be a positive 1. We know they're both going to be y's because they're both going to end in y. So we're going to put y's here. So one of them has to be either a negative 1 and a positive 2. So negative 1 times a positive 2, or a positive 1 times a negative 2. Now, in order for me to get a setup that gives me a negative 1 in the middle here, these have to add up to a negative 1. And the one that does is this one right here. So that means that you're going to have a plus y, plus 1y. And then here you're going to have that minus 2y. So now you're going to have x plus y. And then here you're going to have x minus 2y equaling 10. So hopefully you followed that piece. Now, nice thing about this is that we have this piece up here. We're told that x plus y equals 2. We have an x plus y. So we can replace this right here. Just the 2 can go right over here and replace that x plus y. So this is going to be 2 parentheses x minus 2y equals 10. So now this has just been replaced with the 2. And then I can go ahead and take a look at that. So when you have this, what you're going to end up looking at now is this, like I said, this piece is going to, that's going to be the 2. And again, what you can do here is just get the 2 out of there. This is multiplication. We're going to divide both sides by 2. And then that tells me that x minus 2y is equal to 10 divided by 2, which is 5. And we were asked to figure out what that was, x minus 2y. And you can see that 5 is an option. So your answer here is D. And if you want more questions like these, you can find them on my YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at YouWantAlgebra. All these are located in the Asvab playlist of my videos. Don't forget to like, share, and follow me for more.